We've seen previously that we have two types of variables, either primitive types or what we call reference variables. So primitive type, like an int, when you create an object, then basically you're specifying a memory location. So when you assign a value, when you have an assignment statement like this, x equal 45, that value is directly stored in that memory location. But a reference variable like a string, in this case, the value when you have an assignment statement like this is not stored directly in that memory location. That memory location stores an address. And that address, that's where the object is actually stored. And the reason is when you declare the variable string here, you don't know how much memory you're going to need. So that variable is only large enough to store a number that indicates an address in memory. And once you specify the actual string, now it's clear, okay, how much memory you will need for that. But this place is probably not enough to store it. So there's another place in memory where that object will be stored. And the address is stored in the variable str. Okay, now that's not something that you have to worry about as a programmer, because your program just, it looks like this. Whether it's a primitive type or a reference variable, the way you're handling them is more or less the same, right? But keep this picture in mind because it's gonna make a difference at some point. So just remember that if it's not a primitive type, then what is stored in that reference variable is an address, not the actual value. Sometimes we indicate that using an arrow, right? We don't actually know the exact address of where that object is stored in memory, but we can, show it like this. Okay, str is a reference variable and it points to the object hello there. So if something is not a primitive type, then we say it's an object. It's a reference variable and it points to an object in memory. The object is an instance of a class, a Java class. And typically the way we create an object is using the operator new, which you have seen when you create a scanner. You say scanner something equals new scanner system.in. We can do the same with a string, right? We could either create a string this way, directly we can specify the string between double quotes, or we could use a similar expression, new string, and then specify the actual string between those parentheses. So first here, when we say string str, we are specifying the name of this data type, which in this case is the name of a Java class. And then we have the identifier, which is our variable name. And from the previous chapter, the identifier rules apply here. And then equals, so this is an assignment operation. Here we're creating a new object, or sometimes we use the word instance of type string. And between the parentheses, we're initializing that object. So this is the initial value that we're assigning to that variable. In this case, the string is hello world.